G'day everyone, Dicko here with another kick-ass walkthrough. In this fifth part of the Motionbuilder series, we are going to walk through the process of combining multiple animations from completely different animation sources. So in the previous video, we walked through the process of combining multiple animations within a single set of animations. Now we're going to get some other sets of animation from the CMU library and combine them with the set of dance animations that we have put together from the previous video. And the great thing about Motionbuilder is that it's a really powerful tool for lining up animations. It takes away the pain of having to get completely different animations and lining them up. Whereas in say Blender or Maya, you would probably have to go ahead and manually align everything. So without further ado, let's jump into Motionbuilder and get started. So in order to make all of this work, we still need to bake down some extra animations from a different set of actors and motion capture in order to be able to use it. So just like the previous video, we are going to line up a new set of animation to an actor and then bind that to our animation rigs. Now you can see here that this particular optical data is really dense. There's tons of points in it. So you don't actually have to use every single point. You just have to find the points that are consistent across the entirety of the motion capture data. And the easiest way to do that is by looking at the reference images on the CMU website. So as long as they have the same abbreviations, just use those. They're the most consistently used and you will not run into any issues. Now, what I've gone ahead and done is linked up my female character to that actor and it's working a charm. And now I'm going to bring in my male character and link it up to the exact same actor. So the cool thing about Motionbuilder is that you can actually attach motion capture data to multiple rigs at the same time. And just to show you how this works, I'm slowing down the video somewhat just to show you what's going on. So right now, the single actor that we have inside of Motionbuilder is going to drive both the female and the male character. Now, the reason why we need to do both characters is because when we come into using Motionbuilder with our dance scene, we need to make Motionbuilder understand which model that we're going to be using to carry on the animation. So each model will have their own set of namespaces, their own set of baked down animation, and that will help Motionbuilder recognize that the animation is going to be used for that particular character. So just like the previous video, just go ahead and save them all out as separate takes and put them into their own appropriate folder. And you can see here on the bottom right that I've actually set up a favorited folder setup for my other set of animations. In this case, it's take 49, where it has some cartwheels and some jumps and stuff like that. I'm speeding through this process because it's exactly the same as how I went about it in the previous video. So what we're going to do now is actually reconstruct the dance scene in a brand new file. So what I'm going to do is import a male and female character with HIK without any animation stored inside it. So it's just going to be the raw character. It's going to bring in both of those characters as FBX files, bring in the male character, and then bring in the female character as well. They won't have any animation on them because we're going to drag and drop animations onto these characters using the story mode inside of Motionbuilder. Make sure to apply a new namespace for the second character so things don't get confusing, and we can get started. So now the next thing we're going to do with this brand new file is set up our favorites folder. So our favorites folder is basically going to contain all the animation takes that we saved out as individual files in the previous video. So I've set up a sort of asset library, so to speak, inside of my folder structure that has the baked animation takes. I'm going to set that as a favorite folder, and you can see here that any subfolder is included in that favorite, and you can see all the separate takes are now listed inside of my asset browser. So now what we can do is go ahead and drag down into our story mode an animation take. So as long as they're the same animation take for both the male and female, they should sync up pretty much instantaneously. The only thing that we will have to do is assign the characterization for each character on each animation take. You can see here, as soon as I dragged in the animation take onto the male character, it worked instantaneously. But with the female character, it's not working because it's trying to draw from the male animation set by default, because that was the first one created in the previous file. So what we need to do is right click on the animation track for the female character and then change the character to character 1. By switching it out, it will now understand that the animation that it's going to source from should be from that set of animation. And as long as we switch it back and forth a little bit, there's a little bit of a bug where it won't play back. You'll see then things are working as planned. Now, each animation layer, as you can see in the character tracks, is designed to work with both male and female characters in this case. So we have the character, which is designated as character, driving the male animation, and then character 1 is driving the female character animation. And now that's working really great. Now, the cool thing about all of this is that we can slide and retime the animation as we see fit. So for instance, I've moved my animation set completely across down the timeline somewhat, so I can bring in some other animation to work with this. So now what I want to do is bring in some lead-in animation. So add some animation so I can sort of start the dance scene without any dancing straight off the bat. So you can see here it's not quite working at the moment because in the male character we need to assign and change the character. So you may be noticing in this footage that there's only one character in that particular set of animation that I can select from, which is a shame because in my recording, I didn't realize I had to go down and actually bake it down to both the male and female characters in my set 49 stuff. I'll rectify that in the next few minutes, but as you can see here, because I baked down the animation to the female character first in my take 49 or set 49, it's working really well with the female character. That's why I've also shown you that you need to bake down the animation from any other set to both the male and female characters so you don't run into this issue in the future. Now for the female character, I want her to kind of do a cartwheel that leads into the dancing. So I've chosen this cartwheel, but we run into an issue where the cartwheel is in the wrong direction. It's not flipping. She's not flipping in the same direction as how she walks into the dance. So we need to fix that up and hook it up so it's perfectly seamless. Now this sounds like it might be an arduous task, but in Motionbuilder it's actually really straightforward because they have what is called the matching tool. So if I go ahead and click on a contact point of either of the feet, so making sure that one of the contact feet is directly in contact with the ground, you'll see that we can match up one of the two clips together so they hook up together. So what we're going to do is select one of the ankles, and then we're going to go ahead and click on the match button over here. And we're going to make sure that as long as we have the right clip selected, we're going to link up the first clip to the following clip so they hook up perfectly well. So we're going to scroll through the animation first to make sure that we're good. And then we're going to set it to hook up to the next clip. And as you can see, the animation realigns itself to the orientation of the following clip. And before you know it, we have an animation that is almost seamless. Now the next thing to do is really simple. To get it to blend really evenly, all we got to do is overlap the clip somewhat, just a few frames, and as you can see, it blends into the next clip like magic. So what we've got is the flip coming in from the right direction, landing at the exact same point where the animation ends for the first clip, and then it links up with the next clip with a nice, clean, seamless blend. So let's just go ahead and have a quick look and see how this whole animation works together from the start. How cool is that shit? I mean, it's so straightforward. It's one of the easiest ways to blend animation that I know of in any software. And of course, the magic that lies within it again is that we're using completely different sets of animation to make this work. So now, what we're going to go ahead and do is do the same thing for the male character. I'm just making sure to save this file as we've done it so far. And he's going to be using a different take from the same set of animation, which is the set 49 animation set, in which case he's just going to do a little pirouette jump thing. So as you can see here, I'm going to bring in a new set of animation. In this case, it's take 3 of set 49. And I've gone ahead and fixed up my previous file. And now you can see that the male character is now present as an option in the animation. So just a few little toggles of the character a little bit, and you can see that now the takes are working really well with the male character as well. And again, we're having the same issue where the animation is in a completely different world space, location, rotation, everything. So once we go ahead and find the appropriate take of animation that we want to use, we'll go ahead and then match up that animation to the dance as well. Now bear in mind, I didn't really have to use the same set of animation for this male character. I could have used a completely different set if I wanted to, and it would be peachy. The only thing that matters is that you've gone ahead and baked down that animation to the male character for that particular set of animation. So it could have been set 1, 5, 15, 20, doesn't really matter what it was. As long as you've got the animation baked down and you've got it saved as a FBX, you're sweet, you're good to go. Now bear in mind, every time you have to bring in a new take, you'll have to assign the appropriate actor to this, the appropriate character, sorry. That's a small niggle in a much larger scope, so it's absolutely manageable in my opinion. So I found the right jump that I want to use. I think this is the one that I want to use for my animation. And now I want to hook that up to my beginning of the dance. So just like the female character a few seconds ago, or a few minutes ago, I want to hook that up properly. So as you can see, the male character is running in the exact wrong direction of this dance itself. So choosing the right foot, the contact of the end of the first animation, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to match up the animation on the following clip. So same settings as before, hooking up to the next clip, and now that jump is now fully aligned to that dance animation. Now there is one slight issue that you may have noticed, is that the hand suddenly has this really weird gimbal lock thing going on there. That is something that we'll have to fix in post. But as a blocking, you can't really go wrong. It's a great thing to have, and a great time saver to have when you're just trying to blend animations and seeing how they all look. And for me, I'm pretty happy with the result. Now there are some additional features in the matching toolset that will potentially help alleviate that. So maybe changing the X, Y, Z space at the bottom of that menu. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to go ahead and touch those. But what I am going to do now is blend those animations in a way that allows me to get a nice seamless transition between both the introductions of both characters. So you can also clip away some animation as well. So what I've gone ahead and done is chopped off the very start of the dance animation, because all they're doing is really just standing there. So the great thing about using the story mode as well is that you can literally clip away animations without deleting keyframes. So essentially it works almost exactly like a video editor, which in my opinion is way more intuitive than going ahead and having to copy and paste keyframes or overlap animations and delete animations and all that sort of shit. So a really great little tool to have, and a great way of blocking out your mocap animations. The other great thing about this is that the whole thing is non-destructive. So until you bake down these animations to a whole new take, you can swap out different takes for other takes, you can blend other takes with these takes, and you can do anything you need to change the timing of these particular takes that you have inside your tracks in story mode. So that means that you're not destroying your original files, but you still have complete control over how you go ahead and edit those animations. One thing to bear in mind, that if you're having issues with seeing any playback happening inside of the viewport, even though you've got animation tracks in the track editor within the story tab, make sure that you're set to story mode in the story tab. So you can see on the top left of the story tab, there's a little blue button that says story. That means story mode is turned on. If that is grayed out or turned off, then it won't play back the animation. So make sure that's turned on and you should be fine. All right, so depending on the needs of your animation, you can go ahead and blend as you see fit. So in my case, I've done an intro where they bounce into the scene and then they bounce out of the scene once they finish dancing. So that's really it. In the next video, we're going to go through how to create multiple camera setups that allow you to jump from one camera to another, and also include a little bit of animation to make a dynamic animation with really nice camera work that suits the needs of the action for your story. So again, thank you for watching. Catch us later and have fun. Cheers.